Hi everyone, this is Candace Harrington and Nicole Smith to present the family development theory for our families. So to start off to discuss, the family development theory is to study families in the context of stages, changes, or transitions in life and determining how it affects the other family members. As a little bit of history, it emerged in the late 1940s by Duval and Hill as they developed the field of family science. They found that in their version of the family science where there are certain tasks that need to be accomplished by both parents and children. It had about 8 stages. Then 12 years later, a man named Roy Rogers developed a version of the theory with 24 different stages. There are so many stages because he felt that families were influenced not only within themselves, but also by institutional norms, the expectations of the whole family, and the expectations of each family member. There's also a few assumptions, like number one says that families change over time. So it's important to know that families are dynamic, not stagnant. They are always changing. Number two, there are tasks within each stage of development. For example, as a newlywed couple get married, they start to have kids and they change their tasks from a husband and wife to also a parent. There are norms regulating family behavior in each stage, such as if you are in school, you are to attend school and not drop out by getting good grades. Number four, as one family member develops, it affects the other family members. So take a teenager who's developing, both cognitively and physically, are likely to have a couple of changes also in themselves, but with their relationships with other family members, which could eventually affect them. 5, families have to be viewed through their environment, history, and societal expectations and norms. So to study a family in America would be very different to studying family in either China or Peru. And 6, families should be viewed throughout time at each change stage and ask how and why. How they changed, why they changed, and how they were able to react to certain things. There are also a couple of terms and concepts that are important to know, such as this first one, which is called stages, which are essentially very distinct qualitative events that happen, such as a marriage or childbirth or graduating from high school or college. Transition, which is the shift in roles and identities with change in developmental stages. So turning from a parent into a grandparent would be considered a transition. Change in general, where change could be either good or bad, internal, external. It depends on the family member and whether they are able to adapt to change or to be different. Timing is also a vital part. When something happens has a huge impact, such as a divorce happening with young children or a divorce happening with children already moved out of the house. Or you can think about how you've changed personally over the years, how your friends have changed, or how the world has changed in general, which kind of goes over the different terms or different times. And developmental tasks, those are just different responsibilities that one gain after your child is developing and growing, or as you gain new relationships. So now we're going to move on to the models. Family Life Cycle by Duval. There are different stages. Stage 1 is married without children, and then stage 2 starts when you start having children. Stage 3 is when that child is in preschool. Stage 4 is when that child is in school. Stage 5 is when that child is a teenager. Stage 6 is when that child is leaving home. Stage 7 is when the parents have no more children in the house, they're empty nesters, but they're still working. And stage 8 is when somebody is passed away, when one of the spouses are passed away and they are retirement. So with each new change, they get different tasks and new positions in the family. And we are going to watch just a little bit of a video from the Disney movie Up to see how this kind of works. Okay, so there we saw stage 1, which has to do with marriage and without children. And they were preparing for stage 2, but unfortunately they weren't able to have children. And so they lived their lives and age, and then they get into stage 8 where a spouse passes away, and they have to cope with that. So we're going to continue to the next model, which is called the systematic family development model. And it's a fairly recent one, and its focus is not so much on just one generation where we watch one family develop, but rather multi-generational, so including grandparents and grandchildren. It's very similar. The way it's best described is like a cake, where there's 4 different layers representing 4 different generations, and everything is happening at all simultaneously rather than one event at another. So if you take a slice, you'll be able to see multiple things going on. And it also depends, it's analysis of family on race, with their income, race, gender, religion, and so on and so forth. The last model that we'll be discussing is the Carter and McGoldrick model. It has to do with, has 6 different stages as well, but they, instead of focusing so much on the developmental tasks, they instead focus on the emotional process that occurs during each stage, especially during a family crisis such as premature death, job loss, or divorce. So there's lots of things that goes on with how they feel and what's going on with the divorce. Thank you.